there is one person a mother can usually charm: her son.
Mothers, whether they're good mothers or not, have tremendous influence over adolescent children.
A cash-hungry woman preys on her son's devotion.
She was going to leave unless he actually took his dad's life.
A mother resorts to torture and murder to protect her child's reputation.
She couldn't think of an assault bad enough, so she did it all.
Get in the bathroom! Okay, now what do you bring now?
And to hide her dirty deeds, a mom turns her son into a killer.
She created a new vortex of violence that night, ultimately turning them into killers.
These deadly women are blessed with their children's love. Through thick and thin, they can rely on mommy's little helpers. It's unfair to ask a child to get involved in adult business.
How had she progressed to getting her children to do such terrible things?
Or to take sides.
Hilma Marie used her own children to perform these acts of homicide that she wanted done.
It's the summer of 1981 in the coastal town of Beverly Shores, Indiana.
You got ways to go before you go get your old man. Let's put it that way.
Brothers Eric and John Butch Whitty face the burden of many sons, trying to live up to their father's expectations. And 43-year-old Paul is a demanding man.
He fancied himself as a Davy Crockett type person. Liked the outdoors, took the boys camping, took the boys hunting.
Neither 15-year-old Eric nor 12-year-old John feel they can please Dad.
They gravitated more towards their mother than they did their father.
The boys get 33-year-old Hilma's sympathy. Her marriage to Paul, 10 years her senior, isn't a bed of roses.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
God, that thing looked ugly on you anyway.
Oh, yes, it's a slob.
Hilma wasn't happy with her husband, Paul, after a few years. He was abusive, he hit her.
Who you calling a slob, you bitch?
Oh, yeah, big man.
Paul was such a big man and he was scary and he yelled loud. I figured divorce was in the cards. She just seemed very unhappy.
I hate you!
I hate you more!
But Hilma doesn't want a divorce.
She was afraid of being tossed out into the street and not being able to support her children.
She comes up with her own recipe for freedom.
But she didn't know what she was doing. She put rat poison, arsenic, and Valium in his food.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's fine.
But there was no effect whatsoever.
By the end of summer, Hilma decides it's time for a more effective weapon. And she wants her sons to pull the trigger.
You. Not do it. Come on, step up.
The teens love their mom, but she's asking too much. Hilma isn't one to take no for an answer.
Hilma was quite the manipulator. When the boys wouldn't kill Paul, she left them there. She abandoned them.
One shot.
And said she wouldn't come back home until they had done the deed.
Hilma's emotional blackmail soon works. On the night of September 1st, 1981, 15-year-old Eric obeys one parent by murdering the other. One shot to the head.
It isn't surprising that Eric and John eventually gave in to their mother's demands. They were dependent on her for emotional support and financial support. And they were very young. They had nowhere to go.
I opened the newspaper and it said Beverly Shores man, age 44, shot dead. And I just knew it was him before I even read the article.
Hilma's half-sister, Regina Jordan, always thought something bad could happen, but not this. But it turns out the fatal shooting is deemed an accident.
It said that Eric had found a gun and he was going to go and ask his father about the gun and tripped over something and the gun discharged.
Dad? Dad? Help! Help!
Having been in their home and seen the disaster, the clutter that was there, it was easy to believe that he had actually done as the paper said.
Getting away with murder means moving up in the world. In Trail Creek, Indiana, the victim's own stepmother, 74-year-old Elaine Whitty, takes the family under her wing.
Elaine actually treated Hilma as the daughter she never had. Butch and Eric, they felt initially Elaine was just like a mother to them.
But getting a good home isn't enough for Hilma. She wants more.
After a period of time, it appeared that Hilma Marie was taking money out of Elaine's bank accounts.
There is something wrong here.
Well, maybe you forgot what you spent.
We believe Elaine became suspicious of that. And as a result, the relationship between Hilma Marie and Elaine became pretty strained.
And I'm going to get to the bottom of
She asks her daughter-in-law to leave. Standing up to Hilma is a dangerous thing to do.
The most important person in Hilma's life was Hilma. And what Hilma wanted, she got.
The summer of 1984, Hilma Whitty and her sons, Eric and John, have not only got away with murdering their father, Paul, they get rewarded. Hilma's mother-in-law, Elaine, takes pity on the family and invites them to live with her in Trail Creek, Indiana.
I just love having you here.
But Hilma is stealing Elaine's money, and she's been caught. Elaine has told them to leave, but Hilma has another idea. Once again, she calls on a son to do her dirty work, 14-year-old John, nicknamed Butch.
Hilma was motivated out of greed. If she couldn't get it herself, she'd get somebody else to do it for her.
Hilma Marie had told Butch that Elaine was going to kick him out of the house, that she was going to go to the police and turn him in. When his mother told him about killing Elaine, he was very negative about doing that.
John is fond of his grandma. He has to decide if Mother knows best.
He spent the night in his basement smoking marijuana as well as drinking vodka.
Hilma was quite the manipulator. John liked his grandmother, maybe even loved her. It was Mom that wanted her dead.
The next evening, the teenager proves his devotion to Mom. As the elderly Elaine sleeps, John musters the courage.
As a weapon, the crossbow is quite deadly because it's able to fire a bolt or an arrow with a great deal of force, with a great deal of velocity. She would probably be pinned in the bed because the arrow would be embedded in the bed clothing. This would have caused a slow, agonizing death.
Hilma's greed turns her 2 sons into killers.
Hilma killed her husband because she didn't want to lose any stuff in a divorce. Killed her mother-in-law to get the Social Security checks. Hilma just didn't want to take care of herself.
Her husband Paul's death was ruled an accident.
I'll get the head, Eric get the legs.
But Hilma isn't taking any chances, trying to explain away the arrow.
Rather than call the police and risk another investigation, Hilma had her own mother and her son help her dismember Grandma.
They used everything they could think of to try to dispose of this body, to make them so unusual, so different that they didn't at all look like a human being. They've used a chisel to get through the joint spaces. They tried to put tissues down the garbage disposal, even a microwave, in order to shrink the tissues or to destroy them. They didn't know what a big job they'd undertaken.
I think the fact that Hilma was able to get her son to kill his own grandmother and cut her up showed phenomenal manipulation on the part of Hilma. And if I were John, I'd have been pretty frightened of my mother. If she can do that to Grandma, what might she do to me?
Elaine's friends are worried about her sudden disappearance and go to the police. When investigators start questioning the Whitty family, John cracks and names Hilma as the mastermind. The gory truth is revealed.
He confessed to the murder of Elaine Whitty and also told us about Paul Whitty being killed intentionally by Eric, his brother.
To this day, Hilma's half-sister can't understand how the 2 brothers ended up with blood on their hands.
How had she progressed to develop into getting her children to do such terrible things? Why would they agree to do it? I don't know.
John and Eric Whitty are convicted of voluntary manslaughter and serve 11 years behind bars.
To me, the most shocking part of the crime was not just the fact of the killings, but the fact that Hilma Marie used her own children to perform these acts of homicide that she wanted done.
Hilma Whitty is convicted of murder and conspiracy to commit murder. In 1986, she is sentenced to 90 years in prison.
In the end, Hilma got what she deserved. She manipulated her own children into murdering for her, and they turned on her. Hilda will probably die in prison, which is exactly where she belongs.
If a mom is too protective.
You wanna come party with us?
She thought Cindy was going to hurt her son.
She can do more harm
She wanted to teach her a lesson.
than good.
It was terribly brutal, it was torturous, it was sadistic.
1982, Cherokee County, Oklahoma. 41-year-old Lois Nadine Smith isn't your average reserved bookkeeper.
By the end of the week is fine for these.
Well, you won't be getting them any sooner.
She's earned a reputation around town as a woman not to be trifled with. Nadine has a short fuse.
The girl had a temper on her, and in high school it earned her the name Mean Nadine.
The nickname sticks throughout her adult life.
Watch out.
Watch. What did you say?
I said back off.
She went off with the slightest provocation.
You wanna make something of it?
Some of that was enhanced by a little bit of drug and drinking, but a lot of it was just Nadine's personality. She was a mean girl.
She was generally considered to be somewhat of a bully, and I think that the record in this case certainly bears that out.
But there is someone Nadine can never be tough on. Her son, Greg.
Most mothers love their children no matter what, and she was no different.
Nadine supports her 18-year-old son,
Come on, man. Fixing to leave.
Okay.
no matter what he does. She doesn't even care that he is dealing drugs with his 21-year-old girlfriend, Cindy Bailey.
Her son Greg could do no wrong, even when he really was in the wrong.
To cross Nadine Smith is to ask for trouble. To cross her child is much worse.
She was an extremely protective mother that she was willing, I think, to, in a sense, sacrifice her own life to save her son.
When the young couple breaks up, rumors circulate that Cindy is talking about the illegal drug dealing.
She also heard stories that Cindy was threatening to turn him in to the narcotics squad and get him busted for selling drugs. And even worse than that, she heard that Cindy was planning on killing Greg.
Although he has a new girlfriend, Teresa Baker, Greg seeks advice from the one woman he really trusts, his mom.
Bitch is gonna bring me down.
Well, you just gotta let her know she can't mess with you. Simple, man.
There is no evidence the rumors are true, but Mean Nadine is ready to fight.
I'll show you.
She could not let that stand, so she went after Cindy.
Nadine has a plan to protect her son.
Open up in there.
But first, they need to convince Cindy to go on a road trip with her son and his girlfriend, Teresa. They coax her into a trap.
She talked Cindy into getting into the vehicle with them and going out and having a good time.
Cindy suspects nothing is wrong, even when she is given a warning.
Teresa Baker had tried to whisper some words to Cindy Bailey that she ought not to get in the vehicle.
Hey, it's not cool for you to get in the car.
Cindy apparently told Teresa that she could take care of herself and not to worry about it.
I can look after myself.
Cindy didn't hesitate. That doesn't sound to me like the actions of a woman who had made threats against that family.
Nadine wants to take Cindy on a journey, a one-way journey.
Cindy went along for the ride, but within minutes of getting in the back seat next to Nadine, she must have known she made a mistake.
In Cherokee County, Oklahoma, on Independence Day, July the 4th, 1982, Lois Nadine Smith is fighting her own battle. Rumors that her son's ex, Cindy Bailey, is threatening to tell the police about his drug dealing ignites Nadine's well-known temper.
I'm not lying! Never see Cherokee.
Nadine wrapped her hands around Cindy's throat and started choking her. She didn't choke her too much. She didn't want to kill her just yet.
Mom! She was gonna hurt you with this!
When Greg finds a knife in Cindy's handbag, Nadine puts it to use.
Nadine had taken the knife and slowly punctured her neck there along the oral cavity. Cindy started bleeding and of course, was terrified.
Most mothers would instinctively protect their child from harm, but that wasn't what was going on here. Lois went to the extreme.
Nadine takes Cindy to her ex-husband's home in the small town of Gans.
Open over there! What the hell are you doing here? Get in the bathroom!
Jim Smith is not invited to the party.
I said shut it!
It's very hard to understand any thought process other than the idea that Nadine Smith thought that this woman threatened her son.
Cindy pleads for mercy, but Greg and his girlfriend, Teresa, won't defy Nadine.
She knew Greg Smith very well before, but the Greg Smith that she was dealing with on this day was obviously not a person who felt any kind of sympathy or empathy toward her.
Greg's loyalties lie with his mother, and there is now no stopping Nadine.
Nadine would point the gun at Cindy's stomach, and Cindy would move the pillow down to her stomach. Nadine would bring the pistol up to her head, and she would bring the pillow up to her head. She was taunting her in a very sadistic manner.
The taunting turns to terror.
That shot went through the chair. Nadine probably intended to miss, wanted to scare her even more.
If you had to do it, why'd you have to do it here? Get back in there and stay out of this!
Finally, Nadine just let go with all the bullets, shooting her all over her body.
This attack was brutal and lengthy. She thought Cindy was going to hurt her son. She believed that, and she vented her rage. She wanted to teach her a lesson. She had a party killing Cindy.
A mother protects her son with overkill.
She couldn't think of an assault bad enough to inflict on Cindy. So she did it all. She stabbed her, she shot her, and then she stomped on her neck before she finally killed her.
All the gunshots attract attention.
A police officer came to the door and said the neighbors had called the police what was going on. Jim came out of the bathroom, apparently, and talked to the police and said, "It's all right, we've solved everything, everything's okay."
That bought them time, so they were able to clean up after the murder.
Dutifully, Mother's helpers attempt to disguise the scene.
They drug her body into the bedroom and then placed the gun in Cindy's hand in a pretty feeble attempt to make it look like a suicide.
Gun in there, and that's gonna look like a...
Cindy Bailey's battered body, a warning to anyone that considers crossing Nadine.
Hey, you listen to me. You say a word, and you're next. You understand?
Yeah.
Neighbors continued to call, concerned about what was going on in the house. The police returned, and this time, no one was there. Nothing was there, except the dead body of Cindy.
Cindy was I thought, a pretty girl, but certainly wasn't that day. She was pretty bloody.
Alert neighbors identify 3 people leaving the house, and police pull one of them aside, Teresa Baker.
We got Teresa Baker off by herself, and wasn't too long before she broke down in tears and told us what happened. She just witnessed a horrific act. It was terribly brutal, it was torturous, it was sadistic. It would upset anybody to see what that girl saw.
In exchange for immunity, Teresa testifies against the mother and son. On December 29th, 1982, Lois Nadine Smith is found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death.
For his role in the crimes, Greg was convicted of murder and given life in prison.
Nadine's culpability was greater than Greg's. Greg was still a young man, obviously under the influence of his mother. The jury spoke and justice was done.
19 years later, in 2001, Nadine is executed by lethal injection.
She did it because she wanted to, and it was in her. It was in Lois to be a brutal, sadistic killer.
Children are taught to obey their parents.
Edith was incapable of being a good mother to her son.
But what if mommy asks you to help? Commit murder.
If evil ever visited Glasgow, it visited Glasgow that night in that flat.
Open the door!
The ancient port city of Glasgow, Scotland, has served shipping across the Atlantic for hundreds of years. There are rough and tumble seaside neighborhoods here, and in 2004, Cross Hill is one of them.
Cross Hill on the south side of Glasgow is an area of high unemployment, high drug use and alcohol use, and as a result of that, the violence there is unfortunately quite high.
One woman knows the harsh environment well. 37-year-old Edith McAlinden.
Edith McAlinden came from a very troubled background. She was neglected as a child. She was abusing drink very early on.
Edith really didn't have much of a chance of having a decent life as an adult because of her childhood.
Homeless and drinking alcohol by the age of 10, Edith lives by the rules of the street.
Edith McAlinden was a colourful character, but not one to be meddled with. She was no stranger to crimes. She could and would prey on individuals who could be the source of money for her.
She was also known for having a very short temper. She was quick to use violence.
She was into prostitution, drinking, bullying, assaulting people before she was even an adolescent.
Edith knows how to survive, but she is burdened by more than her own welfare.
Hey, cheeky liar! Give it back to me! Give it back!
She's a single mom to 16-year-old John.
Edith was incapable of being a good mother to her son. He was in and out of foster care. Edith couldn't take care of herself. She certainly couldn't take care of a young boy.
Come on!
Despite his mother's shortcomings, John and his best friend, Jamie Gray, adore Edith, even when she's jailed for assault.
John was fairly immature, certainly not on the radar of the local law enforcement. Jamie Gray was the same age as John McAlinden, and they were at times inseparable. Where John went, usually Jamie wouldn't be far away.
October 17th, 2004. It is a day of celebration for Edith, her first day of freedom after serving 9 months for assault.
Edith had been released from prison and had spent that time in a very serious drinking binge.
She's catching up with old friends. Her boyfriend, 42-year-old David Gillespie, and an old drinking companion, 67-year-old Ian Mitchell.
Ian Mitchell was a retired joiner. He was divorced. He had a flat in Cross Hill. He was something of a seasoned drinker, but not known as a troublemaker, and was very well liked.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Time to go.
It's my first day of freedom!
The party lasts longer than the local pub stays open. The trio decide to go back to Ian's apartment.
The three had returned to Ian Mitchell's flat to continue with the drinking session with excessive alcohol in the flat in the comfort of that home.
Edith has her freedom and is back with friends. But then there is a lover's tiff.
At some stage thereafter, there has been some kind of spark between Edith McAlinden and David Gillespie.
What'd she say? No, she's got something wrong with her.
What the disagreement was, no one will ever know, but Edith lost her temper entirely. She went to the kitchen. She came back with a kitchen knife.
That to me? I can't believe it!
And she stabbed David in both of his legs.
Something annoyed her, and she just went straight to the top level and meted out violence, which eventually caused his death.
He simply sat and bled to death.
One day out of prison, Edith's temper shows its true potential. And it's only just the beginning. Glasgow, Scotland, 2004. On the day 37-year-old Edith McAlinden is released from prison after an assault charge. She is getting into more fights. Within hours of being freed, she ends her relationship with 42-year-old David Gillespie by taking his life. There is a witness, apartment owner Ian Mitchell.
I get the boys! What the? I get the boys!
He doesn't flee, but waits while Edith gets her son, John, and his friend Jamie to come and help.
Edith had a long history of manipulating people and probably learned on the street how to keep people from getting upset. And that's exactly what she did that night.
here! Go! Go!
And indeed, Ian Mitchell was conned into going down and paying for that taxi. He would have had an opportunity to escape at that point, but didn't realise what was in Edith McAlinden's mind.
Ian saw everything. Okay, now what did you bring?
Edith doesn't want the boys to get rid of the body. She wants them to get rid of the witness.
Ian Mitchell would or could be a source of her having to return to prison, and that was not a thought that she wished to court anytime soon.
The boys have no grievance with Ian, but for Edith, they are prepared to take his life.
Edith was skilled at getting men to do things that she wanted them to do, and her son was no different.
The three of them set about a level of brutal violence against Ian Mitchell, such as I haven't witnessed before in my experience as a detective in Glasgow in 30 years. It's very clear to me that if evil ever visited Glasgow, it visited Glasgow that night in that flat, in the form of Edith McAlinden.
It was easy for Edith to turn her own son into a killer because Edith didn't see anything wrong with that.
But the savagery doesn't end there. Ian has a tenant, 71-year-old Tony Coyle, who arrives home in the middle of the murder.
Tony Coyle was a lovely Irish gentleman who lived a very quiet life in the Glasgow area and had a bedsit in that flat. The wrong place, the wrong time for him to be in that flat, and as a result, he was another witness who couldn't be allowed to tell their tale.
Get it! Get it, boys! Get it! Get it! Go, go!
Tony manages to lock himself in his room.
Open the door! Get it, boys! Come on, open the door! Come on!
She had to get into that room. She had to get hold of that man, and she had to kill him.
Hurry up! Get in there! Come on!
I can't even imagine what must have been going through Tony's mind, the fear he must have been feeling.
Go! Go! Get it! Come on! Get it!
Once they gained access, they assaulted him in that bedroom.
Come on!
I have never seen violence on such a scale in any of the crime scenes that I visited before or since.
3 innocent men fatally assaulted, but Edith wants to make sure.
One way that she was going to be sure was to pour boiling water over these men. To see if they responded in any way, to see if they were still alive.
If Edith was capable of doing that, she was capable of doing anything.
Satisfied, the witnesses are silenced. Edith orders the boys home, but she stays and gets a neighbor to call the police.
You go take care of her.
They found Edith McAlinden cradling the body of David Gillespie.
Ma'am, what's happening? What's happening?
Someone's killed my boyfriend!
It's a dangerous move for a murderer to stay at the scene, but Edith thinks she can act her way out of it.
Edith had come upon the scene and found these poor gentlemen already dead. There must have been a fight between them all. And she carried that off quite well.
But Edith's son, John, is telling another story about his murderous deeds. Police find it hard to believe such violence could be the work of teenagers until they examine the boys' clothes.
We found aerial transmission of blood from the victims on various parts of their clothing. The people wearing those items of clothing must have been in close proximity when the injuries were inflicted.
With overwhelming evidence, the trio are charged with the 3 murders. They plead not guilty, but change their minds once the jury sees the horrific crime scene video.
It was like something out of a horror movie. Such a very small area in one room where multiple attacks, multiple injuries and multiple victims were strewn around with evidence everywhere, broken tables, chairs, overturned blood, pieces of human tissue on the ceiling.
It is dubbed the House of Blood.
That video must have had an effect. The accused, Edith McAlinden, John McAlinden and Jamie Gray, changed their pleas from not guilty to 1 murder each. Edith McAlinden pled guilty to the murder of David Gillespie, John McAlinden and Jamie Gray to the murders each of Ian Mitchell and Tony Call.
In 2005, John McAlinden and Jamie Gray each received 12 years for murder.
Of the many tragedies of the case, one of them is that Edith McAlinden has caused her son and Jamie Gray to become 2 of the most violent murderers in Scotland. I find that still quite difficult to wrestle with, and it challenges my belief in mankind and womankind.
John may get over what happened that night, but John is not going to get over his mother. She ruined his life.
Edith McAlinden gets life with a minimum of 13 years. She is eligible for parole in 2018.
Edith didn't kill as many people as other killers have, but she's one of the most evil I've ever seen.
These deadly women abused their children's love. Hilma Whitty's greed pushed her sons into murder. Lois Nadine Smith's idea of devotion was to inflict torture. And Edith McAlinden's temper dragged her son into unspeakable violence. All 3 women made murder a family affair. Their children had no choice but to be Mommy's little helpers.